Yeah, Buzzy, how's it going? Everybody got for you guys today, as the title says, a double header. Actually, I've never done this before. The reason why I'm doing this is, as you can see, I am using the team that I did a long PS Live with. Now, if you guys missed that, a link to that will be down in the description. I don't know if this will be uploaded the day after, maybe not, maybe like 1 or 2 days afterwards. So if you did miss my previous upload from yesterday, and I'll also leave a link to that down in the description so you guys can go check that out. And my first opponent is going to be Davon, or is it Davon? I want to say it's Davon, because I think somebody told me it was pronounced Davon, not Davon, and for the longest time I called him Davon. But first off, I do want to say, guys, if you do enjoy this, then make sure to hit the like button. It is just a second of your time, and it does indeed help the video get out to people who may not know of my channel. So looking at team preview, I am of course running the very hyper offensive team that I got from my buddy Hugh Nation, aka Ryan. His channel link will also be down in the description. Yeah, there's a lot of links down there, so it'll keep you busy for a while. And Davon, I'm just gonna say Davon. Davon just randomly asked me for an ORAS OU battle the other day, sorry. And I was like, sure, why not? And it actually turned out to be a really good match. So looking at his team, seeing that this team is very offensively based, the first things I noticed were Clefable, Zapdos, and Suicune. I guess you could kind of say Landers, but honestly 8 out of 10 Landers are normally Scarf, so I really wasn't too worried about this being too bulky. But my thought process was, I need to weaken Clefable, I need to weaken Zapdos, and I need to make sure this Suicune does not set up at least 2 Calm Minds, because after then I am probably going to be screwed, because even Thundurus probably won't be able to deal with it accordingly. And obviously he has Mega Sceptile, which I have no idea what Mega Sceptile does. I also have no idea what kind of Rachi he has, but seeing as the general lead for this team is Aerodactyl, I of course am going to just lead off with that, trying to prevent him from getting up Stealth Rocks turn 1, and then just try to apply offensive pressure to hopefully open up a window for either my Talonflame or my Sharpedo to come in and sweep his team. So with that being said, let's get into the battle. So I'm going to be leading off with my Aerodactyl. He's going to be leading off with the Clefable. As I mentioned, I don't want to allow him to get up Stealth Rocks, and I know Clefable do from time to time carry Stealth Rocks, and I also don't want to allow him to possibly start Calm Minding. So he ends up going straight for the Moonblast, as I predict him to switch out or just go for another Moonblast, to be honest. I am going to get on my rocks, and then I know that he's not going to start Calm Minding with Suicune, considering the fact that I did show him Taunt, so I can get off a solid amount of damage with the Stone Edge, and then I can bring in my Thundurus and just start applying offensive pressure. As I go straight for the Thunderbolt, I get off a solid amount of damage on this Jirachi, and here, no lie, I kid you not, 100% I will bet this on my life, I did predict him to go for the Toxic. See, I'm still alive. I honestly thought, okay, he's probably going to Toxic. I know he's not going to Zen Headbutt. I don't think he gets Knockoff. I highly doubt he's going to U-turn or go for Iron Head. So I'm going to predict him to go for Toxic. That, and I was also kind of thinking in the back of my mind that he may just go for Stealth Rocks. So this way, I get a free switch into the King Nappa, and I can get up a free substitute, or I can go for the Shadow Ball, I can go for the Sludge Wave if I really wanted to, and ultimately I go for the substitute, which you're going to see that this was really unnecessary. I should have just gone straight for the Shadow Ball, but this extra 25% damage from the substitute does not really end up playing a role whatsoever. As I get off a solid chunk of damage on this Landers, I'm going to predict him to just stay in, considering that he really has no safe switching on his team to Gengar. I can just easily bring in my Sharpedo. I don't have to Mega Evolve, or I don't have to Protect. I know I will get a free speed boost this turn, and I actually go for the Crunch as he decides to fodder off the Jirachi. As he brings in the Zapdos, I'm actually not going to Mega Evolve, and the reason being is that for some reason Ryan, at the time of me recording this, Ryan had this Jolly. I don't know why he had a Jolly. I think Adamant is way better, but to each their own. So seeing that I was Jolly, I was thinking, okay, even if I Mega Evolve, I'm not going to knock him out. So if I stay as regular Sharpedo and I go for the Waterfall, I have a chance to flinch him and get another speed boost. So ultimately I decided I might as well just go for Waterfall, because even if he lives, he'll knock me out if I'm Mega or not Mega. And as I said, if I do flinch him, when I'm not Mega, I get another speed boost. So honestly, it really didn't matter if I did Mega Evolve this turn or not, seeing as Zapdos would be able to live either way. So I do just go for the waterfall. He is of course able to live, and then he crits me just to rub salt in the wounds. As I bring in my Sneasel, I go straight for the knockoff thinking that he would switch out, but he does stay in as he just barely lives, and if I was Adamant Sharpedo, I would have knocked it out. But as you can see, I am able to live the Thunderbolt, and that extra damage really does not play a role whatsoever. As he brings in the Clefable, I'm going to go straight for the Ice Punch. I was really worried that he would start Calm Minding, but then again, he did run the risk of me possibly freezing him. As I bring in my Gengar, I really have no reason to not just go for the Sludge Wave. And here, I'm sure you guys are thinking, well, Leo, why didn't you bring in your Talonflame? Because normally Clefable can't do anything to Talonflame. The reason being is that I actually kind of noticed this after the battle, and at the time I really wasn't thinking about it, but by bringing in Gengar, I basically force him to fodder off his Clefable, as where if I brought in Talonflame after I Swords Dance, he could have brought in Landorus, which means I would have only been at +1 with Talonflame, and Suicune at the amount of HP that is at can live a +1 Jolly Brave Bird and in return knock me out, which means he still has this Clefable, which can still take Thunderbolt from my Thunderous, Soft Bolt off the damage, and after getting rid of Sceptile with Hidden Power Ice, and getting rid of his Landorus, it would be down to his Clefable and my Thunderous, which eventually, because of the normal EV spread of Clefable, he would be able to beat me one-on-one. So by bringing in Gengar, I can just go straight for the Sludge Wave and easily knock out this Clefable, or I guess I could have also Shadow Ball predicting him to switch out, but in this situation, I was really positive that he would just decide to fodder off Clefable, which means this was, in the long run, my best play, as I mentioned. So he's going to bring in Sceptile. Sceptile is faster than me. I have no switch in. I don't want to switch into anything to take a hit from this, because at this point, Gengar has served his purpose. As I bring in my Talonflame, here he told me that after the match, he was very close to staying in and going for the Dragon Pulse. Honestly, at this point, I thought I had lost, because I thought he would either go for the Rock Slide or go for the Hidden Power Rock. So I was like, well, if I can Swords Dance, I may still have a chance to win this match. And if he does knock me out with Hidden Power Rock or Rock Slide, this wasn't a bad battle. And thankfully for me, I do actually force him to switch out as he brings in the Landorus. I'm going to be able to get up that SD, knock out this Landorus as he brings in the Suicune. Remember how earlier I mentioned Suicune would be able to live a +1 Brave Bird? He does end up living. But after that damage, I bring him down to the point where I can easily bring in Thunderous, go for the Thunderbolt, and then with his last being the Sceptile, even though he is faster than me, he's not going to be able to knock me out with any one hit unless he gets a crit, which he doesn't, and I'm able to finish him off with the Hidden Power Ice, and that is the very, very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So yeah, that was definitely a really, really good game, and let's go into game number 2. Alright guys, so we got battle number 2, and this is against my boy, the CanadianWifier, and originally this was just supposed to be a fun, just kind of laid back battle, but it did turn out to be really close and pretty good in my opinion. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. I will make sure to leave his channel link down in the description, or it may not be there. I don't know, it depends if I remember or not. But of course I am using the same hyper offensive team, again thanks to my boy Ryan. And Richard has a pretty, I guess, standardish ORAS team. I don't know how else to say it. Biggest threats, obviously a Greninja can destroy my whole team. Latios, nothing on my team likes to take a Draco Meteor, so I really have to watch out for that. Mega Beedrill honestly shouldn't be an issue considering that I can paralyze it with my Thunderous. I do have Brave Bird on my Talonflame, and I believe this Sharpedo does have Aqua Jet, although actually I think this is when I change it to Adamant, so this should be Adamant, which means I'll be able to knock it out after some prior damage. But yeah, the biggest threat I saw, or the biggest threat, sorry, I saw were going to be Greninja and Latios, so I really have to watch out for them. So with that being said, let's get into this match, and of course the lead for this team is Aerodactyl, so I'm going to be leading off with that, and I'm going to go straight for the taunt as Richard makes a nice play, predicts that, and he's going to go for the Flash Cannon. Luckily I do have the Focus Sash, and here I was like, I'm going to Earthquake. I'm going to Earthquake because obviously the fact that I want to get up rocks is so painfully obvious. It doesn't really matter if I go for Earthquake or not, because he's going to stay in, because I know Richard, he's going to stay in thinking that I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks. But ultimately I was like, well, he's probably not like thinking too hard about it. So he's probably just going to switch out fearing the earthquake, but no, Richard stays in and just goes for another flash cannon, which means I could have knocked him out with the earthquake and then maybe got out my rocks as well, but it's not too big of a deal. As I bring in my Sharpedo, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to switch, fucking Richard stays in and goes for Lava Plume. Thankfully, he does not burn me. Now, the reason why I Mega Evolved automatically was because I thought he would switch right into Rotom Wash. This way, I could already get the boosted crunch off on him as opposed to getting off a crunch from a regular Sharpedo. And maybe being able to 2KO him after Stealth Rock, because I don't know the damage roll from Adamant Mega Sharpedo to Max Defense Rotom Wash, so I was honestly just hoping for the best. But Richard did make a nice play, stays in, risks me Waterfall and goes for the Lava Plume. Luckily he does not burn me, and I can honestly just go for another crunch, not having to fear anything. As he brings in this Latios, I was like, alright, you know what, it's time for me to make a play. I know Richard, he's probably going to go for the Defog, because obviously he has Mega Beedrill, which does not like rocks, and he can just pretty much even the playing field if he does get rid of my Stealth Rocks. So I knew Richard would not go for Side Shock, obviously, and I was 99.9% sure he wouldn't go straight for a Draco Meteor, because the fact that I want to switch out is very, very obvious. And thankfully Richard does indeed go for the Defog, and I'm going to be able to annihilate this giant ass threat to my team with a crunch. As he brings in the Rotom, I end up doing 57% to this Rotom Wash. That honestly was a lot more than I was expecting, so I was really happy for that. Which means, with that being weakened, my Swords and Talonflame might actually be able to sweep through his team. So he's gonna bring a Mega Beedrill as I switch directly into Talonflame. Honestly, the Protect is painfully obvious, and I'm just gonna go for the Swords Dance actually. And I really have no reason not to just go straight for the Brave Bird, because Rotom is not a switch in, Landorus is not a safe switch in, Greninja gets O-Code. So I'm able to get rid of the Mega Beedrill as he brings in the Rotom. Thanks to the prior damage from Crunch, I'm gonna be able to knock him out. I get a crit. I don't know if that crit really mattered or not. If anything, Richard could have brought in Landorus actually, I suppose, and then brought in Rotom, but then at that point I would have been able to 2KO him, although he could have switched back into Landorus, bringing me to neutral attack. Either way though, I would have been able to weaken this to the point where at that point I'm pretty sure I won with Weavile, because I can still just Thunder Wave Greninja with my Thundurus. So in the end, it doesn't really end up playing too big of a role. As I get off a solid chunk of damage on this Landorus, I can now basically just bring in my Gengar or Weavile or my Thundurus, and I bring in Gengar, seeing that he had leftovers. I will be able to knock him out with the Shadow Ball, and his last Pokemon is Greninja. Now he actually does still have a chance to win this, because it's going to come down to whether or not my Weavile will be able to knock him out. So he goes for the Dark Pulse, finishes me off. As I go for the Thunder Wave, he's going to turn into an Ice type and finish me off with the Ice Beam. So it all comes down to this, if I can knock him out with the knockoff or not. And thankfully for me, I am going to be able to finish him off, and that is going to be another very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. As I said, this was more of a laid back battle, but then again, I guess if you really think about it, me and Richard still made some pretty good plays, and it did turn out to be a pretty nice match. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this, and if you did, then you know what to do, guys. Make sure to hit the like button, of course. Check out Ryan, check out Richard. I don't know if Davon has a channel, but if you see this man, leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to link your channel in the description. And with that being said, guys, I will see you all tomorrow, so I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, later everybody.